Today's video is all about intersections, baby. Welcome to this Ask LadySpeech, aka Adventures in Being a Recovering Jehovah Witness video. What's up, everybody? It's your favorite hood healer, high priestess, motivational dominatrix. It's your favorite auntie, uncle. It's your favorite goddess king. It's your favorite pirate captain. LadySpeech in the place to be, and I want to welcome you back to my channel. You could be anywhere in the world. As a matter of fact, you are somewhere in the world. You're in your bedroom, you're in your living room, you at the stove, you in the car, you somewhere. And you're also sharing a little bit of time and space with me, so thank you for that. If you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, if you're feeling any of this, if you're feeling any of me, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you hit that notifications bell so you can keep up with all my shenanigans and happenings and goings-ons and things. Now, let's get into this intersection video, but before that, let me remind you, sugar honey dumplings, that if you support me, if you watch my videos, if you share my content, if you contribute to that collection plate, if you just feel my vibe, you are a sugar honey dumpling. But you can also officially be a part of the YouTube sugar honey dumpling crew. All you gotta do is go to my page and hit join. Now that I've said all that, let's get into today's video, shall we? Hello. Like I said, darlings, today's video is all about the intersection. It is a Ask LadySpeech video, and it is also a Adventures in Being a Recovering Jehovah Witness video. So let's get into the question that makes this entire video an intersection. First off, I want to say shout out to D Foster for this question, baby. You asked this question over a year ago. Yes, you did, and I appreciate your patience. I didn't respond to you, I didn't write to you, nor did I like it, nor did I didn't do anything with it because I knew I wanted to come back to it with this video. It took me a minute, but here we are. So let me read y'all the question and then we're going to get into it. The question is, how did I transition from being a Jehovah Witness to my spiritual path? Now, I have answered this question in a series of videos, but this video is going to make it all concise. So let's get into it. One more again, the question is, how did I transition from being a Jehovah Witness to my spiritual path? Let's get into it. Welcome back. It's been like a second anyway. Number one, the first thing I did that started my transition was defining the reasons why I was leaving and why I didn't want to be in that space anymore, why I didn't want to be a Jehovah Witness concretely in my head. So I was about 14, 15-ish when I was still being raised in my father's household, his Jehovah Witness household, and I decided then to give it a go. I was like, let me give this, you know, up until then I was kind of going through the motions, but I was like, let me see, because I believe there's a God. I believe in something. So let me see if this is me. I was always interested in school. I found myself when we were in geography class or any class that referenced spiritual things like literature or geography, I was super in tuned, especially when it came to ancient indigenous cultures, Black indigenous, other people, brown indigenous, other folk indigenous. When it came to that, Asian indigenous, I was like in tune, especially when it came to their spirituality. So 15 years old, 14, 15-ish, 16-ish, I decided to give it a go. And I was like, let me really like put myself forward in this religion and let me see if it's mine. There was a Jehovah Witness song. It was one of my favorite songs actually, and to this day I like it. I need to get my hands on a song book because I would like to sing this song. But this song is called Make the Truth Your Own. And I really took that to heart. And that song is really about make this spiritual faith, like bring it into your heart. Like it needs to not be lip service. And I took that so literally. I knew I gave myself the commitment of a year. I knew within 6 months that this was not for me. You know, I knew philosophically, emotionally, mentally, internally, I was like, nope, this does not resonate. When I stopped playing the motions, it didn't resonate. So at that point is when I knew in my head I didn't want to do that. That was the start of my transition, and I began to intentionally define for myself why I wanted to leave. I knew that I was going to face a lot of backlash initially. I knew I was going to be questioned, and I knew the tactics of the Jehovah Witness. When I ran into them eventually, they were going to try to convince me. I knew the tactics, and I know those tactics were good. So I needed to make sure I understood clearly why I didn't want that and why I was leaving. So if I ever got questioned, or even if I questioned myself, I was clear. And even when the temptation of wanting to go back to that, because I knew that was going to come up at some point because the comfort of what you know, and also I was leaving behind my entire family and friends, so that's a lot. I knew that when those days in the future where I would be tempted to go back, I needed to be very clear about why I was leaving. So defining why I was leaving, defining why that no longer was a part of my life, no longer I connected with, was super important and integral to me leaving the Jehovah Witness fold. Honestly, leading a double life. In the Jehovah Witness fold, we call it a double life when you go to the Kingdom Hall and you're participating in the Jehovah Witness life, but then you're doing something completely other in your off time. So leading a double life actually helped me. And the double life that I led, because we weren't the greatest Jehovah Witness family, we definitely weren't. And so we have times we were on it, we were on field service, we were making our meetings, and there'd be times there would be months we'd go without, weeks we wouldn't go. So this allowed me to develop some interest. I was able to participate in speech and debate. I was able to participate in drama class. I was able to, no one really questioned me. I learned how to read at 3. And at about 11, they started letting me loose on the bus and letting me go to the library. And that was all she wrote. So from about 11, 12, I was reading all the things that I wanted to read. And my reading level had been pretty high for a very long time. So I was already used to reading advanced level books. I was reading everything, especially the occult. I was just like, no, and nobody questioned it. They're like, it's the library, how harmless. Exactly. I lived in bookstores. I lived at the library. Those were my safe spaces. Books were my safe spaces. I had a lot of abuse going on, so books were my safe spaces. So being able to develop that, being able to develop my interests, knowing, coming to the space where I was a writer, understanding that, developing my love of drama, my love of poetry, and my interest in the occult, that really did help me, because when I left, I knew that I could pursue these things about myself. I already had been. A lot of people fail when they transition from organized religion into either just life in general, or even other spiritualities, because they don't develop themselves, and they don't know how. They don't know how to develop their interests. They don't know how to develop themselves. So I had that. I had that down, and that saved my life, because I was able to pursue poetry. I was able to pursue the arts, and I was already doing those things. I was able to I knew where to go. I immediately knew where the magic stores were, and I knew that before, but I just couldn't get to them. But I had researched, I knew. So living a double life, researching the life that I wanted, actively manifesting. I talked this into oh wait, yes. Oh, look at that. Look at how Spirit is just talking to me. Yes, I did talk this life right up. Baby, the power of words. My name ain't LadySpeech for nothing. I talked this exact life right up. From the gate, I was like, I know that I am magic. I know that I'm powerful. I want to use this. I want to use this. So yeah, I just was laser focused on the type of life I wanted to live. I knew what my end game was. I knew what I wanted it to look like. I knew what I wanted it to feel like. I knew I wanted to be happy. I knew that. So I just kept my eye on that. And really was like, what would that person do? I imagined myself in the future being powerful and healed and smart and magic and satisfied with my life and centered. I was like, now what kind of decisions they would make? And I got a lot of that right, got a lot of that wrong, but here we are, and I'm happy with myself. After I really defined for myself why I wanted to leave, I asked myself, do I believe? Do I believe in God? Do I believe in spirituality? What do I believe? And my immediate answer was yes. I didn't even hesitate. I sat down in prayer, and or not prayer, but in more like a meditation, self-reflection. And I was like, do you even believe in God? That simple. 17 years old was when I asked myself that question. I was about to turn 18, and I knew 18 I was leaving the house because everything was already in turmoil. So I asked myself straight up, do you even believe? And I immediately was like, yeah, God is real. God is real. And I was like, Jehovah Witness, God is not real to me, but God is real. So yeah, I established that I believed. I established that I didn't know what the hell that looked like. Immediately after I established that, I sat still for 10 minutes and was just like, Then what set everything off was a prayer. Simplest prayer. But I prayed. And I was like, look. And at that time, I was already sensing spirits. I was into the occult because my gifts were already blooming and manifesting, and I had nobody around to speak to about it. Everything from the Jehovah Witness lens was, that's demonic. But for me, I was like, no, it doesn't feel demonic, but it definitely feels other. And I was like, I knew that I was feeling the balance of things. I was like, I had a feeling. I was like, I have a feeling because my environment is so toxic. The spirits around this place are really, really bad. And they were. That house was a cesspool of abuse. So like, ooh, it was crazy. And now knowing about who I attract, what was going on, there was just a lot. I could feel it, but I also knew that I could feel benevolent, beautiful forces. I knew that like at that moment there was starting to be, I had a moment, I'm not gonna get into it now, but I had a moment where my power came through, and this prayer moment happened after this moment. I had a moment that just my power came through when I shifted. And I knew I was about to leave the house because me and my dad had our last really super extra violent interaction. That was the last time. He still was violent in his verbiage and getting up in my face and intimidation, but that was the last time he really beat me down. It was after that moment coming into my power that then this moment happened. And so then I prayed. I kind of lost my train of thought there. But after that I prayed, and I was like, look, I don't know what you look like. I feel you though. I believe in God. I believe that there's a creator, and I believe that there's other. I don't know. Help me. I'm getting ready to leave my house, my way of life. And when I leave my house, I'm leaving everything. I'm leaving this Jehovah Witness stuff. That means I'm leaving my community. I'm leaving everything. I need people. I need teachers. I need peers. I need friends. I need a family. And I need you. I was like, I believe in you. I will believe in you hardcore. Like there is a God. There is also other, and I just know this. Don't ask me how I know, but I know. So please show yourself to me in the way that's good for me. And that's what set everything off. My life got way worse after that. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Everything broke. The power of prayer, everything broke. And then it got good. I'll tell you this, it was hard all the time, but like everything broke and shattered, and then I began to rebuild myself. And it was interesting. I had never been whole before because of the spiritual, the emotional, the physical, the sexual abuse, the exploitation, the things I had gone through, my drug addicted mom, all of the things I will experience with her, my dad being abusive. I was not whole. Like my dad, he beat and abused all of the children out of my mom that she was pregnant with before me. And then like my aunt had to threaten his life in order to make sure my pregnancy continued, because he was going to abuse my mother out of me. So I literally been fighting for my life. And he had been. So I've been fighting for my space here since conception, baby. And with that being said, yeah, that prayer set everything off. Again, I lost my train of thought real quick. But that prayer set everything off. So I established I believe in creator, and then I made a plan for myself. Because of that double life that I had been living, and because I had let myself, especially in geography class, I let myself in literature class, really be put on to studying other people's ancient mythology, ancient spiritual practice. It's interesting, when I would study those ancient, a lot of things happened under the title of mythology. And I would be, there was some things, especially when it came to Aztec and African culture and Mayan culture, and like, Hawaiian, ancient Hawaii. There was, when I would learn about their spiritual practice, something in me would just be like, that's not mythology. Like literally, I would just be like, that's not mythology. When the name of the gods would light up on the page, like something in me was just like, something's here. Like I literally just would, something in me, when certain people's gods were made, when I would watch documentaries, I would just tingle. I would have these very extreme reactions that I couldn't talk to anybody about, but I was like, this is alive. So when I made that prayer, I immediately started making a plan to study religion and spirituality. And interestingly enough, even with all of that, I first landed on Islam because I was attracted to the discipline of Islam and the beauty and the ancientness of Islam, and felt like that was going to give me a lot of security. And let me tell you, spirit, if you just trust the process, things will happen the way they will happen. So I studied Islam. And I was around, because of the poetry place that I was in, I was around a lot of people who were Islamic, Nation of Islam, and also traditional Islam. And so I was learning a lot about the culture, the different aspects of Islam. And I ended up falling in love. My first love was a young man who was into Islam. And his name was James, and I appreciate him so much because he ended up being very integral in allowing me to define positive, healthy relationships with men and just romantic relationships. Interacting with him helped me to not interact with a lot of BS, and even the bad couple of dudes I got with, I learned very quick, and they weren't able to hurt me very long, because he set a standard that I still to this day still hold myself to and have built on. But anyway, part of why he set the standard, because the first date I had with him, we met at Barnes & Noble's because bookstores were my safe place, and he bought me this book. Now, the original book that he bought me, I don't have anymore, that was lost in storage, but I rebought this book because of how powerful it is. This is a book about Sufism, and he knew that I was studying Islam, but he was just like, I think there's something else with you. So he was like, you should probably... This is called Awakening, a Sufi Experience, by Pir Vilayat Inayat Khan. And I do apologize if I have butchered that name. I read this book, and it sparked this interest in Sufism. And it was at the end of reading this book where something clicked in me. I was like, maybe it's Sufism. And then literally the voice of now I know to be the ancestors, were like, it's the magic you want. And as soon as that voice said that, because I kept being like, the mysticism, the magic of Sufism, like I was diving deeper and deeper into it, and I was like, my God, this is so amazing. And like, but I was connecting to that mysticism, and as soon as that registered, I was like, yeah. There it is. I was like, there it is. It's the magic I want. It's the magic I want. And literally my ancestors were like, we have that. It's within you. You've been doing it this whole time. Now go research. And that's what did it. So me just being open to pursuing all of that, all of these steps kind of built on each other. This was the book though. It had nothing to do with hoodoo, it had nothing to do with conjure, it had nothing to do with folk magic, it had nothing to do with any of that. It was the doorway spirit when you were open. And I was just open, and I was in communication. I was still praying on a regular basis. I just didn't give my creator a name, but I was like, that's when I really started calling the creator instead of God. Because I was like, creator is not gender, the creator. All these downloads, and I was like, this is the creator. And so I just prayed. I prayed to the other, and I prayed to the creator, not understanding that I was all of my spiritual team activated at that point, and they all came through for me. But yeah, that's that on that. You know, going back to that living a double life piece, that was so important because I was able to throw myself into my interest, and those things were my art, my healing, and my spirituality. I hardcore started studying. I started studying my art, pursuing my art. That first looked like going to poetry sets and really immersing myself into the poetry scene, immersing myself into activism. I knew I was passionate about Black people, brown people, indigenous people, and I was very aware of the injustices, and I had this need to fix something, and I knew I had a voice and I was good at speaking. And so this just allowed me to establish community. The peers that I was looking for, the teachers that I was looking for, also got found because of that. You know, the books that I needed to read got found because of that. I just threw myself into my interest and what I loved and started researching and just really putting myself out there. You know, being young, I was on my own at 18, and being young, at that point I had lost everything. So I was like, fuck it. No fear. Why fear? Why fear? Why? I have literally lived through the worst. Because transitioning to the homeless shelter was no joke. There's a whole video about the things that I went through about that. It's crazy. I went through a lot of, when I said it got worse after this and it got better at the same time, I mean that. I was in a homeless shelter. I had to learn everything. But yeah, like, because I threw myself into my interest, because I threw myself into my path, because I threw myself into it. I threw myself into my healing. I threw myself into all of it, and that saved my life. That got me to every experience I needed. I've made some mistakes. I've definitely screwed myself along the way, just like everybody does. But I really feel like I made out good, honey. I love my life. I'm alive, God damn it. I didn't think I would make it this far, and so I've made it pretty far. And not only did I make it far, like, I feel good about where I'm at. So, yeah, all of that kind of helped me make it to the position that I am, and I'm grateful. That all was very integral to that transition. And doing all of those things really helped me to as smooth as I could, move into my new life. It helped me to say goodbye. There was a fair amount of grieving that happened, that it has to happen. So throughout the whole process, there's a fair amount of grieving that needed to happen. A committing to the new life, a committing to my mission. And all of this helped me to keep to the mission. And the original mission was to heal from my spiritual abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, familial abuse, mental abuse, to heal from that. And to lead a life that was satisfactory to me, that made me happy, to be happy, and to be the one who made myself happy, and to be like a force of good. I didn't want to be a person who was out here just hurting people and not able to apologize. I wanted to be a force of good, and I wanted to affect people. I know what it is to really hurt and to be hurt. So I just wanted to be some medicine for myself, and I wanted it to be medicine for others. So dedicating myself and having that mission, really, too. I guess that's the last point. I had a mission. I knew I wanted to be happy. A lot of people at that age, at 18, focused on jobs and focused on houses, and I was like, I want to be happy. My people aren't happy. My dad abused me because he's not happy. Obviously, he was abused too. I offer him no excuses. My mom wasn't happy. Neither of my parents, good people when I was a kid. Great qualities. Some great qualities about them, because I'm here and I get a lot of, you know, I got imprint from my mom and imprint from my dad. So they passed on some really beautiful things to me. They also put a lot of things in me that I had to learn to unlearn and heal from, heal from. So there were some great things about them that I can see and appreciate and love, and also horrible parents. Horrible people. No, and I recognize the full humanity of them. So, like, I'm sure they were great to other people at some point, but to me, trash. But I know a lot of that was just because they were unhappy, because they had been abused. And I really realized, I knew that as an intellectual concept when I began my healing, It took me a good 10, 15 years it took me a good 11 years, to be honest, to really have that seat itself inside me from a human perspective. I had to live, you know, my 20s. I had to live my 20s before I was like, oh, yeah, still horrible parents, but like, honey, I've been in some situations. I've had to make some crazy decisions in the name of my survival, and I've been through some things, so I understand how y'all made a few mistakes. I can still admit that you're horrible, but whoa, living a life when you are broken and you aren't pursuing your healing, I understand how you got there. Because I'm pursuing my healing. I've been pursuing my healing since I was 18, and I've done some stupid things that I regret. So, y'all, that's what it's been, y'all. But I love my life. I love who I am. I love how I'm living. Every mistake has been a lesson. And every lesson is a blessing because it makes me get better. It makes me heal. I'm not happy with how I've been someone's monster, someone's villain. We've all been someone's villain. We're all somebody's monster. I'm not happy with the way my mental health has made me someone's monster. And I address that by healing the things that made me someone's monster, that made me someone's villain. Everybody that I've hurt, it was not a malicious intention, unless, of course, you came after me or I perceived that you were attacking me. Then I was definitely trying to hurt your ass. But the innocent people that I hurt, it was not because I was malicious. It was because I was hurt. You know, I apologize to people. And in my personal circle, I'm known for that. I will apologize to you. And also publicly. If I've been wrong, I will apologize to you. Because we all deserve that. We do. But yeah, I said on that, those are all the things that are responsible for me making what I will call a successful transition from being an ex-Jehovah Witness and living this full life as a mambo in training, as a spiritualist, as a priestess, as a priest, as a healer, as a teacher, as a master, as a dominatrix. This was how I made this transition. So it is what it is. And I'm quite happy with what it is. If you made it to the end of this video, gold star for you. Thank you for listening up. I always intend not to be talking to y'all this long. I always like, this is going to be a cute 10 minute, a cute 15 minutes. It never is. I try though. That be my intention. Your girl is long-winded. My name ain't LadySpeech for nothing. But if you made it all the way to the end, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate your support. I hope this video was an encouragement, was something good for somebody out there. I hope y'all felt it. I hope you like it. I hope you're into it. I hope it gives you good vibes. It gives you good feelings. Yeah, I hope it landed with someone. I'm grateful for answering this question. I'm answering it at a really good place in my life. I needed to answer this question right here, right now. I needed to remember some things. I needed to pat myself on the back. I needed to remind myself that I'm living a life that I'm very much thankful for and that I called when I was 18 and had nothing. So this is good, especially as I'm stepping into this whole new direction, a whole new world. This was good, so thank you DF for asking that question over a year ago, and thank you for your patience. On that note, just in case no one has told you today, you are divine, and thank you for everything you had to survive to get here, baby. And thank you for whatever you did to do, whatever you did, whatever you had to do to survive, whatever you had to survive, so you could be here right now. Okay, I wish you healing. I wish you community. I wish you love. I wish you softness. I wish you a place to be not only your best self, but your ugliest self. Because sometimes you just need someone you love to hold space for you while you be ugly, while you hit rock bottom. And this don't mean you need to walk all over people or treat them messed up. But sometimes you gotta be at your worst in order to get to rock bottom, in order to start building, all right, to get to the top. So may you have that. May you have good people around you that love you, that see you for your fullness, that are truly good community for you, okay? Now, I don't want to take up all your time. I just want to take up a little bit of your time, and I've accomplished that. So, I'm going to say goodbye. I'm saying goodbye. I'm going to say goodbye, bye, bye, bye. I'm saying goodbye. You know what to do. First off, join. Go to my page and hit that join button on my page so you can join the official YouTube Sugar Honey Dumpling crew. So do that. Go join. Yeah. And you know the drill. If you like what I'm doing, if you like what you see, if you're feeling any of this, if you're feeling any of me, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notifications bell so you can keep up with everything I'm doing. So with all my happenings and shenanigans and goings downs and things, do what you gotta do to keep up with me, baby. Oh, do what you gotta do to keep up with me, baby. Hey, do what you gotta do to keep up with me, honey. What do what you gotta do to keep up with me, baby. All right, I could keep singing and doing, and it's a Broadway show, my life, but it's time to say goodbye. You've done well, I've done well. Let's piece this thing out. God, Goddess, Lawa, Orisha. Spiritual team, universe, ancestors willing. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Mwah. I love you. I love you. Thank you. Peace.